I'm Leanne Slaton, and I'm here with my sister,
Brittany Davis.
and we're the House Sisters. Sisters selling houses with special guest, Amber Nash. Woo!
Hi, guys. We've actually known Amber since James McKee era. Did you know that?
No, I remember high school, but I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. Amber's been in my grade since 96. Well, obviously, always, but we didn't move to Elk Grove until 96.
98.
Yeah, I was even just telling Brittany, like, I specifically remember, like, birthday parties at your guys' place, like, in elementary school.
The Fear Factor birthday party.
Oh, yeah. Like, core memory, somehow. Like,
That is funny. So, is your sister younger or older?
older. So my older sister might be your age.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I remember her a lot, so.
And then she has her younger sister, Allie.
Allie,
Yeah.
yes.
And then you guys probably knew my dad, Mr. Schottel.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah,
What
that's
was he
funny.
there?
Small world.
Math teacher.
Okay.
I forgot about that. Yeah, because I forgot your maiden last name.
Speaking of teachers, actually at the Rise event, Mr. Hardwick and Mr. Lane were at the Tilted Mash right before the event started, and I saw Mr. Hardwick, and I was like, and then when I saw him sitting with my fourth grade teacher, Mr. Lane, I was like, okay, that's definitely him.
Did you have Mr. Hardwick? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, sweet. All right, let's get on track.
You guys not tap it on the table.
Oh yes, I felt that.
Does that mess it up?
Sorry.
Yeah, fix it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it okay right now?
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we have Amber Nash here. She is a personal life coach. Tell us a little bit about this venture that you've started.
Yes, so I'm actually a lifestyle coach, and the reason I kind of came up with that is more about lifestyle habits to get you like where you want to be. So what are you doing every single day, each week, each month that's getting you to like a bigger goal, a bigger picture? So I like to help women with that.
For you, was that like just something that like you've always been passionate, or was there something specific that you went through in your life that made you get to that point?
Yes. So of course, I think any business derives from like some personal experience. So for me, it was like my own personal fitness and wellness journey. So like after I had my first son, my first child, whatever, like I think we all can agree that like when you have your first kid, like it's just different. Your whole life is just like consumed around your child. Totally. And it's just everything about your every waking moment is like for your child, about your child, and you kind of lose like sense of yourself. And that really happened with me. Like I just like let myself go. And I don't even mean to say it like in a negative way. Like it wasn't negative. Like my son's priority was my priority. And
you were happily to do it.
I was happy to do it. Like, and when I even look back on those times, like I was happy. I wasn't like, I didn't look at myself and think like, oh my God, like I look horrible or anything like that. Like he consumed my life and I loved everything about it. But I fell very deep into postpartum depression and anxiety, like really bad. And I was like taking medication. I was on Zoloft. I was like up to like 200 milligrams, like the highest dose. And I still just like felt like I couldn't get it under control. And my son has a heart condition. So that played a part. He was on medication since he was a month old. And he had to get it every 8 hours. And it was like, you just kind of learn from experience. And in the beginning, I was like, how serious is it? Like, I don't know if he misses a dose by like 1 minute, is he going to die? Like, is his heart going to go out? Like, it's scary, right? So I just like couldn't get that under control. They switched me to a different medication. And when I was on that medication, I had like this severe like allergic reaction. And I ended up like my throat was swelling. My husband was at work. I was home alone with my baby. I had to call my mother-in-law. She comes down. I took myself to the ER. As soon as I get there, they rush me in because it's like your mouth, it's your airway, it's serious.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we have two options. Like we can either intubate you right now or you're going to have to get trached because your throat is closing and like this is our only option. So it was just like a crazy experience. They intubated me, they sedated me. I remember like still kind of like being aware of things. I remember my husband like getting there. I could hear him, but I couldn't like move. It was just very traumatic. 24 hours later, I wake up and, I'm in a hospital room and I'm just like, what the hell just happened?
Did you know it had been a full day?
No. Like I had no idea like anything that had happened. And like I was breastfeeding and my husband is so sweet. Like he even had them bring a pump. They were like pumping for me, like while I was,
or like my husband had been forgot.
Yeah, like he was like,
I'd have been in pain and lack of supply,
leaking, and oh god, yeah.
And like in that moment when I woke up, I was like, wow.
Wait,
like,
so how old was your son?
My son was almost a year. He was like, I think 10 months. It was in November and he turned 1 in January. And I remember being like, look, I'm taking these meds because I'm like, I'm trying to be better, right? Like I want to be a better mom. I'm struggling. I need help. And this help is like almost killing me. This is crazy, right? So I want something different. Like what is a better way? And like it and
there's
really,
like no shame in the medicine game.
No. And I'm not knocking anyone. Like I get it. Like we've all been through it, right?
I've had severe part. Yeah, I'm currently on it.
That's why I love your story so much, because I'm like, please help me, because I'm in the same boat right now. I want to better my life, but I don't want to do it with medication right now because it's not giving me any more satisfaction in my life. It's not, I don't feel like it's helping in the degree that I need it to. So I'm like, what's next? What do I need to do?
So I will come in and just be devil's advocate on that. My experience is completely different. I absolutely think I function really well on the medication that I'm on because I found what works and what's right for me. And I think that's the biggest thing with mental health is like, whether it's working out, whether it's eating healthy, whether it's journaling or whatever it is that you're going to put into your schedule to create like a happier version of you that you feel good about is great. But like, it takes work, like whether it's seeing a doctor and following up or getting into those routines, you know? So whatever it is, I mean, sometimes it takes a little bit of all of it for there to be a real big impact. And, and I think that, you know, just my daughter's 8, I postpartum super bad when she was born, and then my second daughter Piper, who's 6, same exact thing. And when I identified that after my second daughter was born, I was really on it with my doctors to help take care of my mental health, because it was just can become a dark place
so hard,
quick.
Though, because I feel like the doctors are like so like, well, let's try this, and then all the medication.
That's the thing.
You have a long time to actually help.
And then if you change it, you're starting from square one. But this is the thing.
I change everything after like 2 tries.
But a doctor, it's a practice.
I know.
And everybody responds differently, just like to working out and eating healthy and putting good like energy into your mind.
Yeah, I just wish there was like a
streamline
less trial and error to do, so I can go, okay, here's all my symptoms, this is what's happening with me, what do you recommend? And I wish that recommendation was like the fix, but it's not. And it's
not. And that's the thing, it's a lot of times it's not the fix, it's kind of just the band-aid, right? Like it's carrying you through. So you're like, okay, how can I get over that? Like, how can I use this when I need it, right? In those times where it's severe. But what's going to be sustainable? What's going to help me forever? And so when you said like with your second daughter, I was the same way. Like when I got pregnant the second time, I was like, I'm going to do this completely different. So that's when I started trying to make like health a priority for me. And cause like I'm talking like severely overweight. Like I lost after my daughter, like I went on to lose like 75 pounds. Wow. And like when you think about 75 pounds of fat, like it's a lot, right?
Oh yeah.
So I just knew like I wanted something different. But we all have to have like support to get there. Like you're not going to just get there on your own. And that's a big thing, is like, who's in your corner? Like who's on your team? Who do you have? And for me, like it was a health and fitness coach. I reached out to one of my friends who we all went to school with too, is April, now Hamilton, at the time, Eyes and Bias, as you guys remember her. She has her own business, and she was kind of just like starting out. And she had something that was new and interesting to me, and it was counting macros. And that was like a way to like track your food and just kind of like be mindful of like what you're eating and like identifying the food groups.
Yeah.
And that was new to me. Like I have no experience in health and nutrition. I wish I did. Like looking back on it, I wish it was pushed more. You just kind of learn as you go, like things that you should have learned when you were younger that you didn't, that work better. But for me, that just kind of helped me like get going. And then it was like, okay, now she had these workout plans for me. And I used to play soccer, like whatever, like did dance, all the things.
You're very active.
I was active. And I just, again, like becoming a mom, I was like, well, what's my priority? Like, is it my kid or is it working out? And like, it became my kid. So when I shifted that and I was like, you know what, like working out does make me feel good. Like, why am I not doing it? I'm going to make it a priority. And I just kind of like made that promise to myself. So I just feel like that's a huge step of like, the self-accountability part of it is like, what am I going to do differently every day that's going to work for me and make me get to a place where I'm going to be the happiest?
Yeah.
And it's not a one size fits all, just like we were talking about, like with the medication. Like it's the same thing with working out. Like not everybody likes to work out the same way. So I always want to tell people, like, find something that does work for you. Like, what do you like to do? What do you like to do?
It's not even the what do I like to do. It's the like how to get myself from not physically sitting here and going, okay, I'm going to literally go right there and do it.
Do you not even think about doing it? Or do you think about it and then you're like, no?
Yes, both. I either don't think about it at all, or if I think about it, I'm like, or even like got off a call with her and I was like, should I do yoga? She literally told me to do yoga and I was like,
yeah, you love yoga.
I'm going to do a couple poses, and I started doing it and then I fell asleep.
Well, clearly that's what your body needed. So that's okay. In that moment, like that shows you were your mind relaxed.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
I fell asleep in one of those like hip flexor poses.
Hey, I bet your hips felt great. Yeah.
They feel real loose. But it was like, it's just that. Because once I'm doing it and once I do it, I'm so happy. You know, like once you finish it, you're like, oh, I don't ever regret doing it. You feel good. You feel the endorphins. You feel good. But getting myself to do whatever that is, to make those phone calls with my doctor, to do the action is the hardest thing.
So we got to figure out what your motivating factor is then. Dangle it like a carrot in front of you.
Yes.
Seriously.
And like, I mean this in the nice way possible, but like, if you look at you, like you look great, right? And so like, some people, it's more like they're looking in their closet and they're just like, I hate all my clothes. Like, I hate the way everything fits. Mm-hmm. Like when I go to an event and I have to look for something to wear, do I feel comfortable wearing anything other than leggings? Like those are the things that kind of like will start to jumpstart your mind being like, okay, I need to do something different because I'm just not happy. And we don't realize it that we're not happy because like I said, like when I look back on those times, like I was happy. Like I love being with my family. I love doing things, but it was like those awkward moments where I'm like, ugh, I hate putting this outfit on and being out in public in this way.
Or like going to a pool or whatever it was.
Like,
for
am
you,
I going to wear a bathing suit? Like, am I going to go to a pool party?
Put
like,
shorts on over and wear those in the pool.
Yes,
you know?
get those covers.
Like 5 years.
Yeah, well.
Really?
This is your year, girl.
Why is that? Because of the mom bod or what?
I'm so insecure of my mom bod,
And you're so tiny.
I know. And that's okay. And that's a huge realization too. It's like, it doesn't matter like your size. Like everybody has insecurities.
Yeah.
But I think that's a big piece of it is like, how do we get over those? Like, how do we get over those insecurities? Like,
I think when you get tired enough of being a slave to those feelings.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about the other night because at the event, like obviously I have like some video footage and photos that people took of me that like I'm not posing in them and everything's out on Front Street, right? And like in the past, I would have been like, ew, I hate the way like my stomach looks. I'm not even gonna share that. But I finally got this place where I'm like, when I look at other people, I'm not just like looking at their bodies. Like I'm not looking at your stomach. I'm not looking at your stomach. I'm not looking at your chin.
I wouldn't even think
like,
to look at someone else's stomach.
Like
I look at all that stuff, but I think good for them. They're normal. They're a regular person.
Yes.
They look great like that. Who cares? Like that's my mentality at this point. I think like there's full-bodied women that I think are super attractive, and there's tiny little petite women that I think are like attractive women, and same with men and whatever. And to me, I'm to the point where I'm like, I'm more worried about how you're feeling inside than how you're looking, and the fact that like you're like I looked at your stuff and I think you're beautiful. Like I thought you looked great. I thought everything was professional, and you presented well. And I would have, not one picture did I think like, oh man, she has a beer belly or whatever. I didn't think that, you know. I just thought like, damn, she's doing it. Like I was just thinking like, God, when she was up there, she had to feel so good, and when she got off, she had to feel so good. Like. Yeah. How powerful that was for 41 women to hear those words that you shared, and like that was just amazing. And
the confidence and the
and just the authenticity to it, like that to me is true comfortability in your own skin, just to be who you are, you know.
Yes. And that's why I'm like, okay, it comes with the grace part that I was talking about. It's like, how do we sit here and say, like, I'm enough? Like, the way I look, who I am right now is enough.
Right.
And like,
it's so easy to do that when you're looking at someone else, but not for yourself. That's one thing that you said on Tuesday night during your speech was like, you know, we give grace to all these other people, but then like when it comes to like looking back inner toward yourself, you're just like, you scrutinize, you're negative, you're critical. It's like, geez. Yeah. But I mean, you're a lifestyle coach, so does that come from us knowing that we're capable of more, or is that literally like the devil in our head, like trying to cut us down?
Dude, it is the devil. And like, it's so funny you said that, because on the way over here, I was thinking about how I wanted to bring this up. And it's like, when you're young, and like, I grew up in a Christian household, so like, I know about heaven and hell, God, the devil, whatever. You see the devil as like a person, like one single person. And as you get older and you start going through it, you realize the devil's all around you. Like, those thoughts, those intrusive thoughts in your mind that are not your own, that's the devil.
The negative inner.
Those negative, and you can literally say like, no, I'm not going to listen to these thoughts. Like, I know I'm beautiful. Like, I know my body is perfect. Like, I carried 3 beautiful, amazing children into this world. Like, my youngest is 9 months. Like, dang, why can't I give myself grace? Like, my stomach may have a mom pooch. Yeah, my uterus is still going down. Like, it takes time. Like, it's okay.
Well, at least yours is because you just had a baby. Mine's from beer and football and chicken wings.
But whatever, like, that makes you happy, you know? Like, who cares? Like, I'm not going to give up all the things in my life. And it kind of makes me think about, like, even before I got pregnant with my daughter, like, my 3rd child, my 2nd daughter, whatever, I was, like, at my lowest weight. And I remember being, like, physically, like, maybe this is what I wanted, but like inside I still was like picking myself apart. Like, I still was like, it's not enough. It's not enough. Like, when is it enough? Like, when are we ever going to look at ourselves and be like, I am good the way I am. Who I am now is enough for me. And I can go forth and do all the things I want to do and be comfortable in my skin. Like, how do we get there? It's more.
Yeah, how do we get there? Could you tell us? I'm dying to know.
I know it sounds silly, but it really is like speaking kinder to ourselves. And then like when I talk about goals, like, so many people get like weird about like New Year's resolutions and like talking about goals. And
I love them.
Because you're goal driven, right? Like, you are somebody who is like, I want more with my life. Like, you're an entrepreneur, right? So I know like tons of business women who are like, they're killing it in their business, right? But like, they have no self-care. Like, they have nothing for them.
Yeah, that's you.
I struggle so bad with self-care. It's like, I feel like this society is like, don't be selfish, our whole life. Like,
and hustle.
Don't be selfish. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to follow the rules because I'm a rule follower. And then I'm like, so then I feel like guilty for ever doing anything for myself. And so then that's the first thing off my list. That's the first thing that gets eliminated. And it's the thing that I don't go to unless someone else literally is like, I'm kicking you out of the house. You're going to do this. Set this up for you or whatever.
I mean, how long ago was it that I transferred you those massage hours?
Yeah.
3 months ago?
More than that.
And you still haven't gone. She doesn't even have to pay.
She
just has to call.
I just got to go.
Well, good. That gives me something to push for you because I'm going to make you make the appointment and I'm going to make you show up. And of course, like, having like a coach is great.
She doesn't even drink water, so maybe we should start with that.
Well, you got her the Stanley Cup.
We got her the Stanley Cup. Girl, we are about to be a dynamic duo taking care of our sister here.
Seriously.
But that's it. Like, who is in your corner? Like, who is holding you accountable? Like, having a coach is great, right?
Because it's so hard for me to keep myself accountable and that's why I'm like, it's sad that I have to pay someone to do this. Yeah. But I'm like, this is my cry for help. Like, I need someone to.
But what's so powerful about you paying someone to do that is that you've recognized that's a shortcoming.
Yes.
It's like AA. Like, the first step to recovery is like admitting you have a problem. So what if you pay somebody to help you grow and become happy and be the person you want to be? Like, health isn't only in the form of like your doctor and the gym.
No.
And drinking water.
No, it's not.
That needs to be on your list.
It's not. And that's why, like, a big thing I talk about is, like, I brought it up then the other night is, like, you got to attack every aspect of your life. Like, it has to be all parts. You have to attack your relationships. You have to attack your emotions. Like, it's not just physical. It's not just your intellect. It's not just, like, what are you doing with your career? Like, I also know, okay, this might come off, it might ruffle a few feathers, but I also hate the people who are just like, self-care. Like, okay, like, I know people who are crushing it in their self-care aspects of life, right? But they still want more. They're still looking for more. Like, there has to be a balance between the two.
Right.
So how do you get both? Well, you have to figure out what's going to work for you, and you have to have somebody that's holding you accountable when you can't hold yourself accountable. Like, sometimes a form of self-care is like, you're driving, you call up your best friend, you call your sister, and you just complain to them for a little bit, or vent, or just like let things out. Like, we internalize so much. I think it comes with like the way we were all raised, like our generation. Like, we try to really like deal with stuff on our own, and we just like internalize, and we don't reach out when we're struggling, and we feel like we have to be perfect all the time. And it's like, in reality, like, none of us are perfect all the time. We're not supposed to be. We're going through it. Let's share those experiences. Let's talk about them. Like, put them out on Front Street. Like, for me, a big thing about me and my brand and being authentic is like, you're never going to see me on my Instagram fully put together. Like, I honestly rarely wear makeup. I honestly don't wear it, only if I'm doing something like this or whatever. My hair is in a messy bun. I'm in leggings. Like, my house is a mess, whatever. But I'm still going to show you guys like what's going on, because to me, that's more real than like spending the time to like set everything up perfectly before you. And even like, think about taking a picture. You're like looking at all the angles and like, how do I look the best? And it's just like, why does it matter? Like, we're so in our heads about it. And it's just like, those things are so insignificant to others. They're not looking at that all the time. And if people are, like, those aren't the people you want in your corner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
And a lot of times it can be your family members and your closest friends too that are your biggest haters. So kind of like sifting through and finding out, like, if you have somebody in your life who isn't like hyping you up every minute and they're not supporting you in everything you do, like, it's kind of time to like set those boundaries.
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%.
That's, I feel like we're gotten to the point where like that's where I'm at in my life. 2023 is going to be, you know, doing better for me, because I give so much more than I give myself, and so,
or get back.
Yeah. And so like, whether that's friendships or whatever, like, I feel like I put all my energy into certain things that I don't get reciprocated. So I'm setting those boundaries today.
Yeah, well, and like to go along with that, like, I was even talking to Mom last night. I was like, I'm really tired of doing things because it makes other people feel good. I want to do things that make me feel good. And not to say you don't make sacrifices for the people you care about if they're in need or whatever, but it's just like, I feel like at some point I was just doing a lot of stuff that made other people happy, and it was not necessarily bringing me joy and fulfillment. And that bums me out.
Yeah.
Like, that just bums me out. And it's not like they were demanding, or they were, I signed up for it. I willingly did it. Yeah, I signed up for it.
Thank you. And I'm still
trying to do it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just trying to be really, really aware of that. And you know how I'm like really like old lady routine style. Like, I have my routine and I really like my routine. I'm trying to cut out these like routine breaker uppers or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Because that might like feel good in that moment to like do whatever that thing is, but it always like sends me reeling, like, I have to get back in my routine. I have to get back on this like thing I want and in the direction that I want to go. And it's just, it's so distracting.
But that's okay.
But to the extent that things were going on like over the last year, I feel like there was definitely like overindulgence in those types of things. And I just like knowing what to expect. I feel like maybe because our jobs are very unpredictable. Like, when it comes to like my home life, my schedule, my routine, I like it to be a certain way. It gives me peace.
Yeah. Well, I think that does start with saying no. And like you were talking about this, like, we don't realize it, but like, someone asks us to do something, somebody wants to meet up, we're thinking, okay, well, that's pushing, you know, bedtime with the kids, but like, it sounds fun, like I want to do it, but then you get home late and then your kids are a mess and you're trying to get ready to bed, and then it's like they're bed super late, and then the next day you think, okay, they're going to sleep in, I'll get something done then, but then they actually wake up super early, and now your whole routine is thrown off.
And everybody's pissed off and frustrated, and you're short and snappy, and then you feel guilty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that's where the mom guilt comes in, and you get to a point where you're always feeling like you're just snapping at your kids for things that like kids do. Right? Like, they're just being kids. They're just being kids. They're just doing what kids do, but it's irritating to us because we're overwhelmed and we're too busy. I mean, it really comes down to it. And like, for me, this year, I was like, you know what? Less is more. Like,
totally.
How can I be more impactful by doing less and focusing on what matters to me? my family is always going to be my number one priority. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to work hard in business because like we have bills to pay.
Yeah.
But am I doing enough for them, or am I just like trying to hustle and like they're getting pushed to the wayside? Like that's not fair.
What did you do before you started this business?
I work for the state. I actually still do. I'm on maternity leave.
Okay.
But yes, we'll probably be separating. We'll see. I don't know. I think that's another thing. Like in life, you don't know like what is going to work for you and what isn't until you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And you just kind of see like when I started with the state, I thought, oh, this is a great job for me after college. Like it's stable,
good
benefits,
time off,
retirement, all these things are great. But I know who I am and I'm a hard worker.
I was gonna say, if knowing you and your personality, I would never say for you to go to the state.
Well, I just don't know how fulfilling it would be for you.
Oh my god! You've always been in leadership. You've always had a higher level of expectation for yourself. Like I just look up to you to say, like you're a go-getter. You're not someone who wants to paper push behind a desk. Not to say that's what all state workers do, but I feel like that is.
You don't belong.
It's just a rank and file job.
Lights.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's like I have a heart that wants to serve, and my position is in work comp, and it's a crazy field, and I want to serve others, but a lot comes with it too that's negative. Like you just get very jaded with things, and then working with different people and seeing how other people's work ethic, it's like that's fine. Like if that's you, if you're good showing up to your 9 to 5 and doing the bare minimum and going home and doing whatever, that's great, and like nothing against it.
Right.
But for somebody who wants more out of life and feels like they're always giving 110, it's like you want more. So as these things happen in my life, like as my personal experiences happened, that's when like my ideas like started coming through in terms of like coaching. And I was like, I'm kind of coaching myself in a way to like see my potential. And once I got to that point, I was like, other women need this too. Like they need to see what their true potential is. Like how can you get where you want to go without somebody who's cheering you on? Yeah. And then consistently. And like consistency is key. Like I preach consistency so much, it might be annoying, but I don't care. It's the truth. Like you have to be consistent.
Make you or break you.
Yeah.
It is. And when you're successful, it's because you're being consistent. Even on the days where it seems like nothing you do, you guys know, like in real estate, like it is so unpredictable. Like you could have 5 people that want you. You could have a month go by where, nobody's reaching out to buy or sell. It's scary. But like knowing the other things you're always consistently doing day in and day out, the content you're putting out, the events you're going to, the leadership events, the thing like
outreach,
where you're
the consistent outreach to our clientele and keeping in touch with our sphere of influence and all of that. Yeah.
All of it. It's going to add up. It's going to bring the clients back. Like everything always is going to come back to you in a way, as long as you're being authentic and you're leading with your heart. Like I always say that. I just feel like being genuine about what your purpose is, it helps.
Yeah.
Totally.
100%.
Yeah.
I just love everything. We could sit here all day.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. How much time do you guys have?
Can we DoorDash?
Seriously, I was thinking that too. I was like, oh, is my stomach grumbling?
But, oh my gosh. Okay, well, I feel like I want to hit execution. Sorry, Julian, I just fucked that up.
It's okay. I know I'm thinking how I want to say
I want you to get that in.
Okay. Well, all right. I'll share a personal story then. Okay. So obviously I did touch on it, but like last year, not even now it's 2021. So I was at
2 years ago.
2 years ago,
I feel like with the pandemic, you're like, oh, it was last year. And it's like, no, that was 3 years.
I mean, the last 3 years have really blurred.
A mush. Yeah.
I think like the COVID era really did have such a positive effect on my life though. Like a lot of people saw it as like such a negative time, but like I specifically remembered something from the very beginning that I shared about how if people really get to this point of self-isolation, like they will lose themselves. And like, I know tons of people who did.
Yeah.
And like the one thing I did for myself during COVID was I was like, I'm not changing my life. Like I didn't, my life went on. Like I led my life the way I did. And I didn't let anybody determine that for me, like as much as I could. So like something so simple as like getting outside and going for a walk, even when it was like be locked down in your home. Like, that was so stupid to me. Like, I'm like, you're not going to tell me I can't go for a walk outside and get some fresh air and some sunshine. Like, I need that.
Yeah.
So I remember saying things too, like, people are going to end up being like super depressed because of this too.
Yeah.
Like, losing
Could you
out.
imagine being single? Like, single, like living by yourself?
No.
No husband, no boyfriend, no.
Mom.
No kids.
No, and it was really hard for her. Like,
Yeah, but
remember when
she
got sick and, like,
quarantined with us. But when she got COVID, that was terrible.
Yeah, she was in her house for like 3 months without us. And it was
3
like,
months.
Oh, hers was a long time. It felt forever.
2 weeks, right?
Like, even when she, well, it's forever. Like, 2 weeks. Feels
2
like
weeks when you have your kids and you have no help. It's a long
grandma
time.
ain't around.
Yes.
Feels like a
But I do
eternity.
remember like leaving stuff on her porch and like running away. And, like,
I know.
Here, Merry Christmas. Here's your present.
Yes.
During Christmas time, that time. But yeah, oh my God, looking back at it, I'm like,
Looking back on it, like, really look back. Like, think about where you are right now and like what it was like then. It was crazy. So I was like, in my head, I was like, no, I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to see, I got to adapt, obviously. Like, for example, in terms of like my workout routine, I was going to the gym. Well, now the gyms are closed. So how am I going to make this work? I started doing things at home. I started wherever I could. I found equipment that I could get into my garage. Like, what can I get the bare minimum to like get it done? Like, you don't have to have everything to start. You don't have to have a full home gym to get started. You can literally have a couple weights and some bands and you can get a good workout in.
Sometimes starting is
most of the battle.
No, totally. But I think that people like want it to be like a perfect situation. Like, I want all the equipment before I start. But it's like sometimes starting is the success. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes it's just putting in the work, and it doesn't even have to be like gym related. But with anything, it's like, don't try to make it perfect. Just do it,
Which brings us to execution. Like, that is I'm like, here's all the ideas, here's all these routes to get to that, and then I get lost in that, and then that execution sometimes. And I'm not saying in business I'm a freaking pit bull, and I feel like it's not emotional in business, but when it comes to like my own personal life, like my OCD comes in, and then I want to fix and I want to change and I want to reroute, and then the execution falls out.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like my health and my fitness and my self-care and doing anything for myself, that's how I am. But when it's business or my family, I'm an attack dog.
So what's the biggest thing that affects execution?
In my personal opinion, it's just letting shit go. Like, in that moment, you have to say, like, the thing that's bothering you in 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, does this matter? Is it significant? So if you can like weed through that, then you can make things happen. So like, let's say your kitchen is a mess. You have dishes in the sink and laundry's piled up, but you're like, this is my only opportunity to like do something for me. Like, am I going to sit down and read a good book? Am I going to go put it on a face mask and get in the bath with a glass of wine? Like, let that other stuff go. It'll get done. You're going to get to it. You always do. Your chores are always done. Your kids are always fed. Like, those things always fall into place. It's being able to say, like, I don't have to rush to all the mundane things.
Right.
Yeah.
I do that.
Yeah.
It's so easy because we see it. We're seeing it everywhere we look, and it's overwhelming, and we're just like, I hate this. If I can't do all these things first, then I'm not going to get to me.
Yeah.
Well, there we are again, being last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, we can't put ourselves last. Other people don't do it. Why are moms? Like, I always just think about moms, and I don't want to just like group it that way, but it's just the truth. Like, moms always are just like, how do we get everybody else in line? And then we're like barely hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
I always like get all my kids ready, you know, my 2 kids, and like even my dog, feeding the dog, letting the dog out, you know, trying to do that. And then it's like, oh, we have to literally leave now. And I'm like, crap, I haven't even done my hair yet. And I'm like,
yes.
Oh, I always have to look like shit when we go out.
Yeah, everybody else looks like little Pinterest models, and you're looking like a scrub.
Yeah.
You're the photographer.
Yeah.
Then I choose to be the photographer because, and I'm never in any of the pictures because I'm like, no, I didn't really get ready today, you know, because you're very critical. I go back to that narrative. Yeah, and then I'm not in any pictures because I'm like, no, I don't want to be in it.
So you have to just let that go.
Yeah.
You have to let it go, and you have to say, like, my life doesn't have to be perfect all the time, but like in this moment, like, I'm going to fill my cup so that I can like pour it out to others. And when we feel really good, like when we're feeling our best, it comes from some type of self-care routine, That could be anything. Like you said, it's not always, I always just talk about like fitness and working out because that is just my story.
Right.
That's what got me to where I am now. But like, that isn't even just, you know, the only thing I focus on. Like, it's just a part of my life. It's not the main part of my life. And I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was saying.
But people's self-care looks different.
Yes, I totally lost my train of thought. Good thing we have edited on here.
Well, I'm not really sure where you're going with it, so I can't help you. Just kidding.
Did we ever get to this?
No, and I'm going to bring it up, but I'm trying to find the perfect moment, so I guess I can. Okay, so in terms of like knowing that all aspects of your life don't have to be perfect, this is where it really comes in for me, like my relationship with God, and sometimes this can be like taboo to talk about, but it's really been on my heart lately that like I want to speak about this and let people know like that having God in your corner like is something that's going to see you through like all the hard times, and like knowing that like I can't predict the future. Like I don't know what's going to happen, but all I can do is say like, hey, what do I want to do right now to get me to that goal or get me where I want to be in my business or in my home life or in my fitness goals, whatever. Like just putting one foot in front of the other and showing up for myself every single day. God's going to do the rest. And it really came through when I got pregnant with my daughter. Like I wasn't happy. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I did not want any more kids. Like I had my boy and my girl. Like my life was good, one for one. Like I'm happy. And then God throws this in, and now I'm like, I'm gonna lose all my progress. Like I worked so hard to be where I am physically, and now I'm like, well, now it won't matter. Like I know how my body is. I'm not one of those cute pregnant people. Like I'm just. My body changes.
I'm sure you are, but
my body changes. So I was like, you know, I've been through this. And then I just reminded myself like, hey, you went through this already after your second child. You're going to do the same thing. You have all these systems in place. You really need to just like trust the process. And then that's where my verse comes in. Jeremiah 29:11. And the verse says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And it kept popping up in weird ways. Like I went to church, they brought up the verse. I reached out to a friend that I was pregnant. She told me the verse. One of my friends at my baby shower, she gave me a box of diapers and she wrote the verse on it. Like it was just weird things where it just kept popping up, and I was like, I need to trust in this. And as the pregnancy went on and everything and came out on the other end of it, I'm like, this was my testimony. Like, this is part of my business. Like, this is showing me that, like, I went through this whole transformation. I did it again. I still saw it through. I didn't just give up on my fitness goals because I got pregnant. Like in the past, it would have been so easy to be like, I'm so tired. Like I was so sick the first trimester. Yeah. You're so tired. You have aches and pains. But I stayed steady and I just showed up every day, even when it was hard. Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like I always preach like giving yourself grace, but don't mistake that for having to hustle and work hard. Like you do have to put in the work.
And
like
have some
anything
grit
in life, you have to have grit.
Because it's not going to be the perfect storm for you to accomplish your perfect goal at every moment. No. The point is, the goal is to challenge you, and there's going to be challenges along the way.
Yes, and we need to continue to challenge ourselves. Like if it's not making you uncomfortable, then you're not going to see those breakthroughs that you want. Like say yes. Start with saying yes to things where you would normally say no. Like when you first asked me to speak at the event.
Yeah. Be careful. Why? Oh, because she says yes to everything. Well, but this is in a different sense.
Yeah. In a different sense, that was okay. Talking about saying no, that's with boundaries. But in terms of saying yes, like say yes to the stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable, because in the uncomfortable situations is where you have growth.
Yeah. Nothing changes unless you do something that's uncomfortable.
And it's like that idea of like your dreams don't chase you. You have to chase after your dreams. And if you want to get somewhere, you're going to work for it. Like no one's going to hand it to you. And like when something is important to you, no one's going to do that work for you to be where you want to be. Like, you know, at some point, like you have to do it. And I think that's where a lot of times like people do fall short, because they're just like, they see others doing it so easily. So they're like, okay, well, this must be easy, right? Like they're a realtor and they're just killing it and they're selling all these homes and they're making all these commissions, and like, I could do that. And then you get into the field and you're like, whoa, this isn't for me. Like, I don't like the on-call 24/7 lifestyle. Right. Like, I don't want to be in my car having to drive here and there all the time. Like, you know, to each their own. But it's just be authentic about it. see what's important to you, what's on your heart, how do you want to serve others. I still believe that like you should always come from a place of serving. Like, how are you giving back? You're making money, you're supporting your family, but like, how are you still giving back to people in your community? And that if you have a pure heart about it and what you're doing, your intentions are pure, you will see success. It's gonna come. It's gonna follow.
I'm so excited. I'm just like listening to this, and I just feel like this is literally what I'm like, I'm creating this space of women to be together, to challenge each other, to be supportive of each other. And like, I'm just really excited that we like reconnected as far as like, I mean, we've known each other forever and have gone to school together. But
well, like, it's weird because you feel like you know people because you see them on social media. Right. So you're like, you see their lives. So you're like, I know what you're doing. Like, I see your husband's a firefighter. You have 2 kids, like 2 young kids, like you're working. Like, I know everything you're doing. But like, do I really know you? And then when we talk, we're connecting. It's like, wow, like I loved your story. Like you sharing things with me. Like it's so cool to like see more of you. And I'm going to encourage you to like share more things. But I think that's a big thing is like, how do we share the things that people don't see? You know, where are we being authentic about the struggles too? Like, let's share those struggles. Like, I feel like women so often just like want to be perfect all the time. And it's like, we're not. And like, it's okay to like break down and cry, you know, like we're allowed to have those moments where we're overwhelmed. But then like, I know for me, like when I have a good cry sesh, I always feel better after, you know?
Yeah.
No,
I always feel really tired after and then better later.
But then that's
no, it's like a purge, right?
Yes.
It's a physical purge of that emotion. So that is a nice, a good cry is like a physical purging of that feeling that you're having. I love that.
And like, do you have somebody in your life that you like feel comfortable like being vulnerable with? Like that matters too.
No.
Like it doesn't always have to be your spouse. Like
I'm not vulnerable at all with anyone.
Are you really not? Or are you just saying that?
It's really hard.
It's very difficult for me, but I feel like in the last like 2 to 5 years I've gotten a lot better.
Why do you feel like that about it though? Like the vulnerability part, like what's hard for you in that aspect?
Because if I display vulnerability, then I'm allowing someone to see that they had control over either making me jealous, angry, upset, frustrated. And it just makes me extremely uncomfortable.
Makes you human?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Like I just started saying sorry like 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Brittany said, "You never say you're sorry." And I'm like, I don't. And then I was kind of irritated before I came to the realization that I don't. I was pretty fucking irritated about her saying that. And I told my husband, I was like, Brittany just told me I never say I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, we've been together 9 years. You never said you're sorry to me. I'm like, yes, I do. I say it with my actions. He's like, it's not the same. Like, I appreciate, like, I can tell you you're sorry, but you got to say it and do the actions. Yeah. It's just like,
but
so juvenile.
Calling you out is what brought it to your attention.
And that was the hardest thing for me to even tell her. Like,
that took a lot of courage from you. Because you were probably afraid of how you were going to react.
Well, she's my older sister, and so
she did it on the
phone. She's like, I'm not trying to get my ass physically safe. No.
No, I was in the car. I'm pretty sure I was in the Xfinity with you. Anyways,
the Xfinity or the Infinity. We're in the Comcast truck.
She's traumatized by the event.
No, Brittany is.
But it was really. I'm really bad with confrontation in that, and then in a personal level. Like,
and Brittany's always been like better than me than trying to like express her feelings. She's always been a little bit more comfortable than I am.
A lot of like work though, like with that yoga teacher training, like that was hard, and that was very vulnerable. Put me in a very vulnerable.
See, I would never ever do that. That to me is like nails on a chalkboard. Like I just have no desire to ever. Honestly, I'm very private. Like I am, but I'm not, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's certain parts of my life that I'm so willing.
Like super open book with a lot of stuff.
But when it comes to how I feel, oh my God, I didn't like I will cut you off before I will let you know that you hurt my feelings.
The same way. Everybody,
so is mine.
Everyone's different, and like
I shut down.
It's interesting to say that because like he's said comments to me about things, and I'm like, how could he feel that way? Like, I don't feel that way towards him. Yeah. But it's understanding and being empathetic to others and like stepping back and just listening. Like a big thing in my coaching and like what I've learned from my certification is like, are we empathetic listeners? Like a lot of times we're so quick to be like our response, like you say something to me and I'm so quick to defend myself.
Right.
But when we really sit back and just like listen to others and like take in how they're feeling, then that's when compassion starts, which I talked about as my word. And I can really feel like for like specifically my husband, like him coming forward and being like, you can give others so much grace. Like I hear you with your clients, like you give them grace all day long. You're telling them like, it's okay. Like, but with
and then
me,
you're so hard on him.
I'm so hard on him.
Yeah.
And in my head, it's like, well, I, used to be like, well, I just expect this from you. And he's like, but you don't convey it in a way that I understand. So like having those tough conversations, like they're hard. It's hard. Like it really is like, to eat crow and be like, I'm sorry. Like you're right. Like my actions were causing this effect in you. I apologize. Like that was never my intention.
Right.
And I think that's a big thing to bring it up. Like had he never brought it to my attention, had he never brought it up to me, I wouldn't know like to change it or that I was doing it. So having those uncomfortable conversations, again, like it brings growth. So communication is key. And even with like sisters, I have 2 sisters, like sometimes like my sisters are pissed at me and I didn't even know they were.
Do you have brothers at all?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
No brothers.
Yeah. Girl, yeah, me and Britt are super close, but it's taken us a long time to get here.
And she kind of had mentioned something like that to me, and I was like, wow, I resonate with that too. Like my older sister, like we didn't have a relationship for a long time. Like it wasn't until we started having kids that we
I think we had a friendship. We were just on different paths.
Yeah. And you have a friendship, but you're not.
Different. It's just different.
It's like it's your sister, but
living a life that's very similar. I don't know, or you're going through something so you can be empathetic. Like,
well, you're connecting on like these really high levels when you're dealing with the love and care you have for your own children and the love and care I have for her children. Like, is insane. You know, like I always tell my husband, like I can never be away from my niece and nephew. Like, his family lives 45 minutes away, and I love my nieces and nephews on that side so much, and it crushes me that I don't get to see them more often. I wish I had such a close relationship with them like I did with Britt's kids, because those are like all those kids, like, and I'm not even a kid person.
Isn't that funny? But it's like
they are my heart. I love them. Like I love their reactions. I love seeing their birthdays. I love going to their games and like seeing them interact and being excited to see me and telling me jokes. And it's just like, God, all these people that I literally love so much made all these other people. And it's oh man, I think Britt was always like super athletic. She was super driven that way. I was always like very career driven. We were kind of just doing different things. We always showed up for each other and we always supported each other, and we still do, but we maybe didn't have as much of a connection as we do now that we are at the same stage in life and that we can really share.
An uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, many of them. Yeah. Well, and I'm glad she said it to me. Like at the moment it hurt me.
Of course.
It made
Your first
me
reaction
pissed.
is anger.
Oh, always.
Attack.
If anybody has a reaction, if my reaction is ever anything but anger, like question it, because I literally go to anger. My first thing, I am spicy. I have a short fuse. Like
that is my daughter.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, angry first, and then like
then you
sad,
process.
and then super grateful, because I don't think that, our relationship would have grown to be what it is, or my relationship with Joe, or my relationship with Mom, my ability to feel like I need to be honest and accountable with what I'm doing and saying to the people that I care about would have never really happened for me. Maybe way farther down the line if she wouldn't have braved that conversation in the Xfinity.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, honestly, a big thing too is like, don't assume that we know what people are thinking. And that's like a big downfall. I'll say it for myself too, is like, I get in my head so often where I'm like, somebody says something, I take it so personal and I like assume this is what they meant.
Right. And that inner narrative is like,
I do that constantly.
You project on the situation or the environment, and then you're like, you've created this narrative, and you finally like confront it, and they're like, that's not what I meant at all. And you're like, fuck, this whole time I thought we were in an argument and had this like negative vibe, because I'm projecting that of how I interpreted whatever happened, and this whole time you were fine.
Yep.
Like we had a friend recently reach out to us and say that, and we were like, what? No, we were just busy with the holidays. Like, we've had just a lot of shit going on, and so like we weren't ignoring you. We just literally like haven't reached out until now because of this and
life.
Yeah.
So
like, never assume. Reach out, ask those people. Just, hey, you said this the other day, and like it really bothered me, and I want you to understand like where I'm coming from. Is that what you meant? And allow that person to explain themselves and say like, no.
Yeah.
And
or,
like, or yes, it is. And now let's talk about it.
Yeah. It is what I meant, and I regret meaning that. So
or like if you're feeling like some way, like have you drank anything? Have you ate anything?
Yeah.
Have you had adequate sleep? Like, don't go into any type of conversation in that way either. Right. Because it's never good.
My husband, I'm like, I need to ask him a question.
Yeah.
A favor to ask.
Yeah, don't ask him
And
coming
I'm like,
off a 40-hour shift. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I let him sleep. I'm like, okay, here's a sandwich. And
I made you a tea with one of your 7,000 tea bags that you have under our freaking cabinets. He's always like, do you want tea? I'm like, dude, have like 3 every time I come over. I can't have any more damn tea over here.
I know, he buys tea like all the time. And
That's
I'm like,
cute.
we're not even halfway through the first box.
He's a tea
Lipton.
drinker or what?
Yeah, he loves tea.
He's
like,
a beverage drinker.
Yeah, he's a beverage
He's
drinker.
always thirsty. Me and
We
him
have
are always
a fridge
thirsty.
full of soda, water.
He's always
Tea.
serving the tea.
Yeah, he's serving the tea, that's for sure.
Phew, yeah, he even got a little kettle to warm it up.
That's cute.
Shoot, I clicked it. Sorry. Okay, so let's wrap things up here. Give yourself a plug.
But yeah, so where do we find you? How do we get a hold of you?
How do we grow?
Yeah, how do we grow?
How do I sell more houses? Just tell me right
Yes,
now. What
okay.
am I doing wrong and
You have to
right?
sign up. You have to.
Oh, that's the paid
No,
version.
no, no,
You got it, girl.
Well,
I'm in.
your business will come. It's going to come. So don't stress. Do everything you're doing. What you guys are doing, I love your guys' page. I mean, just let me tell you, she asked me if you watch the videos. I'm like, girl, I watch every video.
Oh.
I love them. It's great. Doing stuff like this, putting yourself out there, people are going to see you. And once people get to know you, I love that you guys talk about other things. You're not only talking about real estate.
Right.
Like, we get to see Leanne and Brittany and who they are as women, as mothers, as wives. Like, that's what people like.
Yeah.
Just keep being authentic and the business will come because people are going to work with you because they like you.
Right.
They like you. It's not about the fact that you can sell a home. Anyone can sell a home, right? But what about you do they connect with? So keep showing that. And then, of course, I have, my Instagram is super easy @_Amber Nash. I try to just like have the most simplistic name as possible. And then I do have a website, ambernashcoaching.com. So you can go on there as well. But I work with clients. I only work with women. Sorry to say it, but I really just feel like that's where my heart is. Mm-hmm. I just want to lift other women up. I want them to see their full potential. And I want them to just like know that no dream or goal is too big or too small. Like, they all matter. Like, in the grand scheme, those small goals get you to the big goals. Mm-hmm. But have the vision of the big goal. Like, we're dreamers, but you
break
can't
it
just
down
rely.
so it's like you can actually break it down into the smaller goals so that you can actually
execute those big ones.
Yeah, you've got to. And that's my whole thing. It's like, oh, I want to sell 30 houses. Sweet. All right, what do I do today?
But dude, I love that you have that goal. Like, writing that down, you're already putting that out there.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're saying, I am selling 30 homes this year.
Yes. No,
like,
it'll be
I don't
28,
want to.
'cause
I'm
8's my
going
number.
to.
She's always going to have 8 in it.
It's going to be 28 homes.
Well, then we'll push for 2 more.
Yeah, exactly. If I do
seriously,
30, I'll be happy. Yeah, minimum of 28. So.
Put it out there, and then you're keeping track. Every time you sell one, you're going to mark it off. Like, you have to really sit there and be intentional with it. Are you attending trainings? Like, are you always education? Like, I feel like you never can know too much, right? Like, you always can learn from others. You can always grow that way. Just keep doing what you're doing, and the business part of it is going to come. It'll follow.
Absolutely. No, I agree. And more so, I was saying in the sense of like selling 28 houses requires so many little daily goals, so many little weekly goals, so many monthly and quarterly goals.
Yes.
It's easier to chip the iceberg off like that than just be like, okay, 28 houses. What do I do?
So say like,
It's
what am I going to do for January?
Totally.
What am I going to do for February? Write it down, get it done. As you're doing those, then you're going to see your progress, and you're like, okay, that goal of 28 or 30, it's not so far off because I'm already at 14 or whatever by the middle of the year or whatever, And like you said, you can't control the market, things are going to happen, but when people do buy and sell, there are certain times, and like when, when school's out or whatever, you guys know these things.
Staying
like
consistent is key.
Yeah, and just knowing that there will, housing is an essential part of life. So it's like there is going to be people who have a need to sell or to buy a home. So yeah, I've been through so many markets in the last
10 years that you've been selling.
And if you're in a low point where
years,
like you're not working with clients one-on-one right now, buying and selling, then this is your opportunity to jump into those types of trainings, webinars, whatever
build your
it
systems.
is. Yeah. Get a better presence, start creating more content. I'm like, this is my toxic trait. Like, if I have an idea, I want to like make it right then. I want to post it that day.
Yeah,
same. It's hard not to do that.
I'm excited about it.
Schedule it. Be like, okay, I'm going to make like 10 videos, I'm going to save them, and then I'll just post one each day. You know, whatever. Find little things that you can do during your downtime. Spend more time with your kids. Spend more time with your family members. Like, go to lunch with a friend. Like,
make it valuable.
You never know. You never know. Like, in that moment, if you meet up with somebody and you're talking, I mean, just Brittany, like, just us, like, our connection that we've made in the last month, look where it's taking both of us. Yeah. I say me. Like, opportunities are coming that I would have never dreamed of. But in my mind, like, this is everything I've ever wanted. So you just never know, you know, setting up that lunch date could have somebody I know somebody who is actually looking for a great realtor. Yeah. Can I give them your information?
Totally.
And you're sitting there like, hell yeah,
love when that happens.
Yeah. That's the best conversation.
Yeah. I will buy your lunch.
and that comes with being vulnerable too, like talking to people about your struggles. Like, I was talking to somebody about like money just the other day. Like, times are tough right now, like for everybody.
Yeah, inflation's high and things are not affordable.
Exactly. And then she came back with, you know, her struggles, and it's like, oh man, I'm not alone. Like, it made me feel good, like having the commonality, knowing it's not just me. Like, then you say, okay, how can I help you? How can I support you? Those types of things. And the business follows.
Totally.
Yep.
Gosh, I'm so glad that you were able to come.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, okay, so Instagram @_ Amber Nash and Amber Nash coaching.com.
Yes. And you can always, I have an inquiry on there where it'll submit it to me if you want to reach out for a free consult. I do 30-minute consults for free with anyone, just to kind of like let you tell me like what's going on. Like, why are you looking to come
find
to
out
me?
So you can see if you can help?
Yes. Yeah. It's, you know, no, you don't have to commit to anything. It's okay. Like, I truly believe that like the timing has to be right for somebody. Like, you're never going to force people into business.
Right.
Like, the timing has to be authentic and right for them. So just be available and the people will come. So I'm here if anyone needs to talk. I'm always an ear to listen. And, you know, in a friend way, like not even just professionally, like, I really try to be encouraging on social media with like anyone I interact with, because I'm not saying like you have to sign up with me for me to be nice and encouraging to you and things that you're going through. And I am not exaggerating when I say I have women who literally tell me their deepest, darkest things. Like, and these are people I've never even met, you know? And it's like, they see me as a safe place. Like, that means something to me. Like, it's not about them becoming my client. It's like, wow, you're talking to me about something so precious. Like, I need to think about how I'm going to respond, because I want to say something that is really going to support you in this moment, because you came to me for that support.
Yeah.
So it's just lead with a serving heart.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's how we run our business. So.
Again, and like just getting together with like-minded women, hopefully we can have more for you guys in the near future.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming. We're really excited to have you be more involved in like the Rise community that we're starting, and just being able to support a bunch of women and moms, and you're doing a great job doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Yes. No, I'm so excited. It's going to be great. I love the group. And still, I mean, just thinking about it, like 40 people showing up. Like, are you kidding me? It's amazing.
No, that was cool. That was pretty hot. I liked it.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for watching. These are the house sisters, or these, all three of us.
I'm an honorary member right now.
We're the house sisters.
We're the house sisters.
This is our blonde.
This is our blonde
counterpart.
Blonde house sister.
Yeah.